with us today, National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. Michael, thanks for joining. I want to start with the defense's argument and specifically the statutory grounds that they put forth to the judge and said, listen, he had an inability to conform conduct. He was substantially impaired. He needs the medication. He needs the treatment. He is amenable to the treatment, and he was cooperative with law enforcement. Do you think that's enough to convince a judge to say, okay, to life in prisons versus death?
I don't think that's going to happen in this case. What they were saying was correct, but I don't think my heart broke for that defense attorney when I saw him talking. He was a defeated person. As a former public defender, I had, PTSD kind of in these sentencing. Sometimes we do 4 sentencings a day, right? And so sometimes the best you can do is the best you can do. The defense attorney did the best he could for Wade Wilson. When he got up there and he spoke, I could see it in his voice, right? I don't think it's enough. I think, in Florida, in a Spencer hearing, mental health issues are a mitigating factor. They are, in fact, there, right? But is it enough in this case, given the depravity of the murders and the way the assistant DA came up and said, I agree with him that death is permanent, the death of these victims, and he went through them. She was 36, she was 40. I mean, that was just a dagger. I don't see it, and the jury's already recommended death. I don't think a judge is going to overturn the will of the jury and say, you know what, 2 life sentences. Maybe Wade, the schizophrenia, again, it does go in his favor. And if a judge wanted to find a ground to say, you know what, I'm going to make you go to jail for the rest of your life. The tattoos on his mouth, the schizophrenia, the brain damage, the trauma, the being abandoned by his parents, the drug abuse of his parents, all of that is there. There's something icky about this case and about this defendant. There's something there. His demeanor in the courtroom, it's almost like he wants to die. Hey, maybe the judge will look at it and say, hey, you want to die? I'm not going to give it to you. I don't know. I just don't see the judge going with that because so many aggravating factors already exist that the mitigating factor of the mental health issues and the needs for medication, and he did help the investigators. I just don't think it's going to be enough.
And the tattoos on the face don't help him because to me it looks like he's grinning the whole time. And then I looked closer and I thought he may not be, but those tattoos force it to look like he is grinning. And that was my next question. I wanted to separate it though into the non-statutory grounds that the defense argued. Those are the things like born to drug-addicted parents, abandoned, adopted by someone else, bipolar, schizophrenic. The fact that the jury recommended the death penalty 9 to 3 and 10 to 2, and under the previous law in Florida, that would have been enough to say life, not death. And so counsel put that out there. Also, the fact that there are 40,000 people who have signed a petition and said don't put him to death. But I think you could argue it may not be as much to do with him as it is that there are a number of people that are opposed to the death penalty overall for anyone. I think he was smart, Michael, because those things didn't have to be put out there. But I think he was smart to add that to see if it might tip the scales. But it sounds like you're saying no, you don't think so.
So let me address it. So you know what it comes down to, Judge Ashley? It comes down to the judge. It really just depends when this person lays his head on the pillow at night, what type of person he is. I've been in front of judges where they have this visceral hate of certain things that other people don't, right? There are judges that say no one should ever smoke marijuana. Some judges say I smoke marijuana. They won't admit it on the record, but it comes down to the judge. If this judge has a personal opinion about facial tattoos, I'm telling you the decision's already made in his mind. I'm telling you, if he has an opinion, he could be, right? We know that the law changed midway. Like the law changed, the statute was changed after these crimes were committed, and then it was decided by a Florida court that it doesn't matter. You go by the old law. So we know that. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to this judge. There's something disorienting about seeing this defendant in the courtroom. There's something very disorienting. But me as an attorney who has represented people with schizophrenia, who's had clients who had schizophrenia, it's not unfamiliar to me. They almost all act in the same way. They have delusions. They really don't know what's happening. So, I mean, I'm not kind of defending him, but I'm kind of saying, it makes sense. But this judge might not. I mean, the judge obviously has had defendants in front of him who've had schizophrenia. The jury people probably did not. It really comes down to this judge. But the disorienting look of those facial tattoos are I think they're gonna play a big factor for this judge. And you pointed it out, he looks like he's grinning. I didn't think about it, but yeah, he does look like he's grinning. I'm looking at him and I really don't know if he's grinning or if he's not. But the tattoos make him look like he's grinning.
Yeah, I absolutely
So now you put it in my
agree.
mind, I can't get it out.
Yeah, because it does look like he is. Whether or not he is, I just can't tell for sure. But to your point, you know, the judge has seen lots of defendants, lots of sentencing incumbent on the judge to make. And so we don't know what his frame of reference is either, that I'm sure will play a part in what he feels he needs to decide in this case. All right. So we know the outcome, and that is they're going to give an exhibit list to the jury. Then they can see, okay, which exhibit is that copy of the article written by Jeff Gehrman. Let me bring back in Michael Jaafar. Michael, the thing I want to focus on with you is the number 2 side-by-side comparison that I think we can show as you and I talk. It's not evidence. It was in closing. What do you think this means?
Oh, I'm very proud of this jury, Judge Ashley. When I saw that question come back, I was very delighted. Here's the prediction I had was this jury's going to come back in under 2 hours. I'm happy that I'm wrong on this. I always like it when juries do their homework. So what I think that this means pretty important, right? They saw his former partner testify that was definitely Robert Tellis, right? And so I told everybody that even though I know that could come in, I hated the fact that it had to come in because it was so damning. So the jury, in their having a sense of right and wrong and justice, say, we're not going to let this former real estate guy, who clearly in cross-examination was exposed as just being a financial opportunist who he may have made it up, he may be lying just to spite Robert Tellis. We want to know for ourselves. We want to know if this is his gait. Does this look like Robert Tellis? And I think that's why the jury was asking about that. That's what they should ask about, and that is actually the important thing for them to ask about. So I think this is the case right here. Is this person Robert Tellis?
And I can't decide. Sorry to interrupt you. Look at that with me, Michael. I can't decide that it's the same gait. It's a different perspective, front versus side view. But I'm not going to look at that and tell you that I say, oh, that's absolutely the same walk. Do you or not?
Yeah, it does not look like the same walk. And by the way, the one on the left where he's walking, that's his normal walk. We know that that's his normal walk. And the one on the right, if Robert Tellis really did this, he would have been such a narcissist to think that he would get away with it, that he would walk in the same way. So I think you're looking at a comparison. If in fact that is Robert Tellis in the orange jacket, he would have the same gait, because only a person with deep narcissism would have actually thought they would pull something like this off. So it would be the same gait. So I do agree with you.
So
that does not look like the same person.
Just really quick, the other thing the jury wanted is the ability to zoom in on video. Again, that was brought up during the closing. You only have about 10 seconds, but to me, it speaks volumes that they are doing this depth of analysis of the videos.
Yeah, no, and the video of the Denali, seeing whether or not that person has a beard and seeing whether or not it's the same person, I am very happy with this jury. I'm very, very happy. And hey, it's important because Draskevich brought it up in his closing, said, hey, listen, you got to look at this stuff because this is not my client. So I love this, Judge Ashley.
I do too. I do too. 5 hours, 17 minutes. We know they are looking in depth and they're asking lots of questions. That's their job. So I agree with you.